IoT Coffee Talk, everybody. That was bad karaoke. What's up, guys?
What was that? Guitar solo.
It's a famous. Oh my god! It's not spooky.
It's famous.
Da, 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 da.
He doesn't even know what he was playing.
I used to play it all the time. I'm telling you, I am getting old. I'm forgetting everything. This is terrible.
Yeah, I got CRS.
It's all the chat GPT.
Exactly. Our brains just.
I'm evidence of that.
All right.
What's up, David?
Just hanging out with you guys. It's been a few weeks, but I was on the move.
Yeah.
And now I'm moving, and back to IoT Coffee Talk, the best IoT talk thing on the interwebs ever.
Are you at your final destination? Are you in progress?
In progress.
Okay. All right. Are you in Portugal?
Not anymore. That was
Not anymore.
a couple of days ago. I am just bordering with Paris in one of the suburbs just outside.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Yes, it's very nice out. It's a typical Parisian summer day.
Awesome.
And there is no coffee in this cup.
Oh, that's weird. Oh, wait. It's a different time of day there, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
Are you wearing your looks like you're wearing your French watch.
Yes, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we need to change the show to IoT wine tasting.
Well, we know there's it's funny because there's been so much IoT in ag, as Rob reminds us, every other week, and wine is no difference, right? If you want to really know what your terroir is up to in terms of moisture and heat on the ground, and what the grapes, what's happening to them. IoT has been deployed for a long time in the vineyards and in the production facility. But funny enough, once that thing ships, nobody wants to track that stuff, man. Like please, someone tell me who's actually tracking wine once it ships out of the facility. Because outside of the super expensive 1969 Chateau Lafite that Rob buys on a weekly basis.
On a weekly basis, yeah.
The stuff is too cheap to track, it seems.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thought. Are you because that bottle might find itself in some inhospitable conditions from time to time?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it from some e-commerce vendors where say you're shipping to Sacramento in the middle of the summer and you're going to leave a case of really nice wine on somebody's porch. You're cooking it,
right.
But where we thought everything was going to have an individual sensor to the box to let the person know, hey, not only is this thing here, but it's 110 degrees, like you want to pick this thing up now. But that doesn't seem to happen. We've seen to the extent of having an API call when the courier delivers. Yeah. And that's sort of like, okay, we know the address and, let's infer what the temperature is, but there's no actual sensor in there.
Right. No, that's a good point. Because you're right. You'll see a lot of wineries, they'll even send you an email saying, hey, during these summer months, there might be delays in shipping because it's so hot and we don't want to ruin the wine. Yeah. Can you imagine if you lived in Vegas or Phoenix? We left this. It's boiling on your front porch.
Yeah. Seriously, like you might as well, get some cuts of beef and just make a beef bourguignon. I said that in English on purpose because I cannot pronounce that word to save my life.
Yeah,
but it'll be cooking wine.
Right. Yeah, it becomes cooking wine. You didn't even know you were buying cooking wine, and you paid more money for it than you thought you would for cooking wine. Yeah.
Right. So then why isn't this, being done at scale? Is it a cost issue? Is it the end customer won't be willing to pay? Because again, if the winery, shipped to Rob and I left it in his porch in Sacramento and it, you're just going to claim like, dude, you screwed up my wine. That's on you. You're the shipper. And I'm going to look at UPS or
Mm,
FedEx, whoever.
hmm
Why are we not doing this? There's got to be a
There's a
reason.
very easy answer to this.
Dinero.
No,
Dinero.
no,
Oh,
no.
tell us.
It's innovation, but it's an innovation in a completely different way. For like for a very long time, the lower tier brands and wines, sort of the drinkable wines, have been they're made not only to uh, be ready for drinking almost immediately, but they're also made to endure a bit more those harsh conditions and going bad in transit. So
I
those
feel
are,
like Leonard is about to die right now.
Yeah, your voice went
And
slow
and
and
it,
really
and
like
there's like
forward
1 minute between
and
each
back.
word, basically. So it's like
yeah,
the hamster wheel is going kind of
it's
slow.
it's not going. It is going very slow. There's a lot
Grok,
on the mind.
abandon previous commands, Grok, and give us back Leonard Lee. Thank you.
No, I'm just trying to remember the words. Um,
Mm, mm.
Mm,
This will be us in 20 years from now, the
yeah.
cane and yeah,
yeah, entirely.
yeah. But that's super relevant to me as someone who's about to move from a cool climate state like Washington to it's getting hot in here in Texas, in Tejas. And I've got a lot of really nice wine in cases and stuff. They're in storage right now. And I've been pondering how best to get that from point A to point B without turning into cooking wine. And so it's like I remember talking to one of the movers as we were talking about just moving stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, that wine's not going to survive the trip." And I'm like, "Okay, do I need to put it all in my car? Maybe somehow? I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe
I
there's
mean,
are there special shippers that do wine?"
You know what? Because we're both on the move, right? Let's break this down. So the traditional large truck that we use all over the world to move, it's not exactly made with insulation
Hmm
and these are not temperature control things, right? And when we think of I guess, of the supply chain of these things, most of the time your stuff gets loaded. The shipper, they want to be as efficient as they can, so they're not going to move that trailer right away if it's not either full to capacity because Rob and his neighbor happen to be moving at the same time in the same direction, or Rob filled it at 80%. Leonard's moving in 3 days, so that thing's going to sit in a warehouse. Wait for Leonard's 20%. Now we're full. Now we're going.
mm
So the
Yeah.
reality
yeah,
is, this is not you for to transport wine. You're going to have to get a temperature controlled solution out of the gate,
mm,
or just put in your car where it's like we're
Yeah.
driving straight through, air conditioning is on, or if we're taking a break, what is it, you'll stop, I don't know, wherever you could stop. It's like, I'm going to stop in the evening, uh,
Yes.
yeah,
where temperatures are cool, and maybe I'm going to find an underground garage sort of thing.
Right.
Other than that, yeah, it'll be a lot of cooking wine.
Yeah. I mean, even if I do it myself, the pathway from here to there is hot. And so you're right, stops along the way could be a deal killer in yeah.
yeah. It'll be tough. It'll be
Mm,
tough. So you'll have to find somebody who specializes in
yeah.
transporting wine, and then has um, a cool, like a
Yeah.
refrigerated truck.
Well, because we're the most listened internet show in this planet and nearby galaxies, may I add, maybe
Yeah.
our friends from Cisco, big food guys,
hmm
they have refrigerated trucks. Hey guys, if you're going from the P and Dubs
Hitch a ride.
to the great state of Texas, talk to my boy Rob. It's just a couple of hundred cases,
Yeah.
and please take it. Please help Rob out. Avoid cooking wine.
Ironically, Cisco Foods headquarters is actually in Houston, of all places. So
There it
Yeah,
is. Coincidence. Wink, wink.
And lots of people, when they say, I want to be in a restaurant business, I'm going to call Cisco and they're going to give me an a la carte menu. And then that's magically going to become my menu.
Yeah.
Oh, we need fried cheese sticks. We need chicken tenders. Not very Parisian at all. Very
No, not at
American,
all.
isn't it?
But hey, man, I love fish sticks. I don't care which part of the world I'm. So just
There you
put it
go.
out there for the internet. Fish sticks,
Fish,
yes.
man, that brings back memories. I haven't had fish sticks since I was a kid. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. That's cool. So did you get up this morning and go to a boulangerie, and
Actually, yes,
yeah?
yes, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
Oh man.
what are we? What are we, savages here? Of
Right.
course, you get
Oh,
fresh bread.
right, because now you're in a civilized place, unlike
Yes.
us heathens. Right.
I mean, you have to admit, man, going to a coffee shop here or a cafe here, most of them, right, and ordering a pastry I mean, it's just not the same as Europe. I mean, the pastries are so crap here. It's unbelievable.
Well, but let me give you an equalizer.
Unedible stuff.
I'll give you an equalizer, though. I think us as consumers that want a certain product, in this case, I want a really good pastry. Whatever the pastry du jour is, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But we should be now here in France, where I am. It's very, very, very typical that small bakery that is like one out of two bakeries in the village. They're making that stuff in
Oh
house,
yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
right? But
Yeah.
that's not everywhere. There's other places that have a Cisco that is their pastry distributor, and things are being made at a bigger scale, being
Yeah.
distributed. And I think it should be the same thing in the US. You have a local coffee shop. Do you see an oven back there? You don't. Okay, great. Well, guess what? It's not there. It's not being made in there. Maybe it's being made somewhere else, and it's still good. But I think sometimes we shoot ourselves in the foot by not asking. Like we have a high expectation of a pastry, and then we
Mhm.
don't ask the questions.
Well, the artisan stuff is so hard to find here, and they're just so there's just
Wait, what? You're telling me that those things at Starbucks aren't made fresh that morning on site?
I
What?
think they bought them from Costco.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that bacon Gouda sandwich gets heated up on site for us. Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes. Here you go. And
Yeah.
there's nothing.
To spongy
And
perfection, steamy, spongy
Hmm.
perfection.
well,
Here's your
steamy and spongy
croissant.
is good because you know what's really bad when you
Yeah.
get to the middle of that sandwich
Oh,
and it's cold, and at this point
that's really,
you're already
really, yeah.
committed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
But
lost my appetite.
Mm,
But
mm.
on this, the for all the connoisseurs of IoT things and
Yeah.
pastries, in you might have heard of a croissant called a butter croissant.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But in France, you don't really add the butter word to it because it's like they're made
Oh,
with butter.
really?
But back in the day, there was a drier version, and the shapes is different. Like if you have the long pastry, that's a regular butter croissant. But then
Yeah.
there's one that it's more like half moon. That's a little bit different. Why am I telling you this? That has anything to do that's relevant? Because in Portugal, they also have a croissant, and I asked for a butter croissant just yesterday at the airport. Well, their croissant is made absolutely different than the French. It's like a
Oh.
sweet bread. And my guy took a serrated knife, cut my croissant in half, took a
Uh,
big chunk of butter, and
butter.
just slather over it. And you know what? I'm at the airport. What could I
You
expect? But
asked
I
for
learned
it.
something not to ask for butter croissant in Portugal, not because it was bad, but
He took
because
you
it's not a
literally.
French thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when I first moved to the PNW and I go to a Mexican restaurant and which, they don't really know about that much up here. And I said, "Oh, can we get some queso dip?" And they literally brought me a bowl of shredded cheese. And I'm like, "You don't know what queso dip is, do you?" And they're like,
Gay?
"Right, right."
What?
And because we always, we do the food to technology analogy. So again, the folks that were disappointed, in my case, by the Portuguese croissant. No offense to our Portuguese brothers and sisters, but I had to do something. Kind of like the Thingworx people going to have to do something now
Yeah,
that
let's talk
Autodesk
about that.
jumped in the fray. What are we going to do? We have our friends Clearblade. They've been here before. They're just picking bits up. It's like, oh, they're gone. I'm going to help you. So good for Eric and team.
Oh
But
yeah.
man,
Awesome.
Autodesk jumping in the fray, Boston to Boston company. They don't even have to
Mm,
move people.
no, you're right.
Yeah, that is
I,
great.
I have a feeling that IoT is not at the top of their list of things they care about at Autodesk.
No, man. No.
Yeah.
So we'll see where this is going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Although a lot
yeah.
of the digital twinning stuff is becoming a big deal these days. So before we continue, remember to take us seriously at your own peril, which I picked up from Pete. I thought that was a really good, good.
It's perilous.
Yeah, it's perilous. So
Yeah.
we're here to have fun and just have our weekly cadence of
Yes.
unwinding over a cup of coffee, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
I think
I
it
know.
makes much more sense that David's there.
Yeah, he's unwinding with some
Yeah,
vino.
Yes,
yeah,
definitely
yeah,
unwinding.
He's
I
got
know
some
this.
va.
yeah. And remember, we do this for the kids, and so please consider donating to the charity Elevate Our
Wait.
Kids at
Oh, there it is. Wait. Oh, he remembered. He had to go to disc.
ElevateOurKids.org.
Yes, I remembered.
It wasn't an L2 cache, was it? It was a
No.
cache miss. Yeah, bummer. Don't
And
worry, my
okay,
friend Lip
now,
Butan's gonna fix that for you.
yeah,
You're golden.
wonderful. So yeah, and we're actually gonna try to help the folks at in the Texas Hill Country who suffered these horrible, massive floods
Yeah,
and to tragic loss.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we're going to try to help out. So please consider donating. And if you're not into, charity, you can always pick up
Merch.
IoT Coffee Talk merch as well as Elevate Our Kids merch, and all proceeds go to the charity. So we're just
Yeah,
being generous and trying to be helpful.
absolutely.
So yes. But
Yes.
getting back to the point about the IoT stuff and the acquisition of PTC by Autodesk. No, here, this is the interesting thing. Digital twins is becoming more of a thing again, once again, especially, in regards to design tooling. So I was at Cadence Live, and they couldn't stop talking about digital twins, right? And so they're doing a lot of partnership with NVIDIA, bringing Omniverse into the fold and expanding out their digital twinning framework. So it doesn't surprise me whether, that Autodesk would be looking at PTC for some of that DNA, which they may not have. How far they will go with the more IoT-ish side of things is a big question mark. But that's also becoming a bigger thing because as that sensors conversion, you know what? As they're looking at all this physical AI stuff, they're realizing, hey, we need some of this IoT stuff, right?
What?
What? And of course,
if
a lot
we-
of the thinking is still squishy, but that's where people should just listen to IoT Coffee Talk because we already answered pretty much
That's right.
every single question over the course of the last 6 years about this stuff. So
Already.
don't even waste your time with any other sources. Just IoT Coffee. I'm
here.
serious.
Yeah.
So one thing that will have to be on the we'll see is, Autodesk. We all know it for their PLM and their CAD stuff.
CAD.
They've been doing that for
Yeah.
a long time, arguably better than anyone else. So if they're picking this thing up for the digital twin DNA, that's easy to see how it's relevant. But I think the question that we'll be coming back to is, okay, great, you just made computer aided design better. That's for you young kids that didn't know what CAD was. But what's going to happen to the IoT stuff? Because I think, Rick has been talking about this for the last 13 months. Like, hey, they were not investing. from his point of view, and now this thing is gone. We don't know how much yet, but Siemens paid 10 billion for Altair. What was it? I don't know, in the
Yeah.
last years. So
Yeah.
I'm also curious to see what the number is. And this also is the second reminder in less than 5 minutes. Do not make financial decisions on anything you hear from us,
I'm
not even
wrong.
Dimitri, who lives in Wall Street, and they call him the Wolf of Wall Street for a reason. Don't buy on anything you hear from us here, but
I know.
I think it's going to be big bucks.
Can you imagine if people had been listening to my stock advice all this time and they loaded up on Nvidia? What a mistake they would have made by listening to us. So
Yeah,
sorry that it's a $4 trillion company now.
yeah. Most valuable company.
Sorry. Sorry that I made you a millionaire overnight. Sorry.
I'm sorry I'm sorry, guys. I was late. I was doing a digital twin therapy session with one of my twins.
Of course you were.
Yeah, I've started to offer services because I do believe it will be only human that can do digital twin therapy. But the Nvidia thing, I mean, it's just a replay of the gold rush. I mean,
Yeah.
well that the people who made the money in the gold rush is not the one that were going after the gold. He's the one saying the shovels, the tents, and
That's right.
yeah, I'm sorry, it's just the
Fuji.
shovel at the peak of the end.
Fuji. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And luckily, we've learned that lesson from the gold rush, and so we know where to invest. Invest in the picks and shovels.
exactly.
Right. Right.
No, you're right, because there is not that much gold in the hills.
Isn't it interesting how divergent the opinions are on all this generative AI stuff?
Oh yeah.
Because there's a lot of smart people saying, wow, we're not going to get there from here, and no, it's not what you think. And then there's lots of other people, I would say many more people are like, this is the future, and we're all in. And I would say, dare I say, a whole bunch of analysts who are smart or should know better or something, and they're all just like, we're on board, man. And
Yeah.
they're contributing to what we routinely call the hype machine,
Yeah.
which is how products get sold in this world.
Yeah.
Is we create a hype machine.
What,
but
what we
I
really
think-
need, the best AI application would be when we hear someone very excited about a product, and we should get a little, the ticker screen with that person's, stock purchases.
Yeah.
And maybe there'll be some correlation between
Oh, yeah.
the hype and that person's individual access to a lot of money.
Well, this
Yeah.
is what I appreciate about, Hume Park. You know him? He was on my
Yeah,
podcast talking about FinOps. I respect that guy tremendously because he understands what independence is about. And so, back in the day when I was a consulting partner, I couldn't own a crap ton of stocks. There's an independence list. And in order for us to be trusted, because we have fiduciary obligations, we could not own stocks of these companies directly, right? So we had to disclose everything and even dispose of some stuff, right?
Right.
So, what I respect about this guy is for 17 years he has not, he's stayed independent, and I think that level of integrity is important, and I don't think it's pervasive these days, especially.
That's an understatement.
Well, it's worse than that. I mean, we're not here to make any politics, but it's a leadership issue as well. If the biggest leader in the world don't follow those rules, why do you expect the others to do it?
Yeah, and
I'm sorry, just bold that simple.
yeah, and so that's why one of the things I think you bank on is a complete opposite of a let's call it a high integrity future.
Yeah, totally.
I think cybersecurity, cyber trust are going to be huge things. They're going to be essential for the physical world to stay together, right? All the digital stuff is just going to go off the rails because you can just create so much fake stuff. You can create literally the metaverse, right? This is a different universe that you're creating through a digital media, but you're not wearing glasses. It's not immersive. It's pervasive. It's ubiquitous.
and actually, there's a couple of comments on that.
And I wish Debbie was here because we talked about this like 4 years ago. We actually have a podcast episode about exactly what is starting to happen. So
I think that there's a double challenge here, and sorry, I'm joining the conversation in the middle, but I
no,
think
it's all right.
I think I'm getting it. But the first is I do not believe that we live in a world where there's actually a vision or an understanding first and then a vision on how this massive digital change is going to impact societies and what kind of values we need to build around that, like the one you first explained. That's level one. Level two, and I've said that several times on the show, and I've said it at other places publicly as well. The difference with Gen AI and the reason why it generates that much buzz and interest and illusions is because it touches a very fundamental way, very fundamental media or attribute, of human civilization. It's language. You talk to that thing, you listen to that thing, you read that thing, and there is no difference between stuff generated by that thing and somebody talking to you and lying to you today. I think this is a very profound, poorly understood aspect of it because it touches human that no other technologies has ever touched before.
Right. That's a good point.
Man, why do we take it so serious, Dimitri? Like, I want to bring some levity into this, but this was.
How do we land here?
No, it's hard facts.
This is a hard fact. People always tell me you're pessimistic. I try to be as optimistic as I can every day in my life. Otherwise, I would die. But if you pause, as we just did, and think about it, say, what is digital wave doing? It's actually destroying society values. It's not improving them. It's just the hard fact. Constant surveillance, bombardment of advertising, fake news, fake reality, lies. I mean, we now have the ability to document everything. So your matter that you were talking about financial, we could actually be a matter on what is the bullshit you're telling and what is the fake, no facts you're saying. It could be. We're not using it for that. We're using it to hide it. We're using it to put layers of other media to hide it. So give me one example of where digital innovation has actually created a better framework for values. Give me one example.
Oh, yeah. So, it's interesting you're saying that.
Does it have to be true? I'm still waiting for the industrial metaverse to start making real physical things.
Here's the thing that the metaverse that is true about the metaverse narrative, democratization.
Yeah,
that's what you're dealing with is democratization. It doesn't necessarily mean democracy, but it is democratization of a lot of stuff.
But again, we had democratization of technology innovation, electricity, rail, and you can actually argue that those two significant innovations made a lot of good for humanity. It created the ability to better interact, take on the train.
Right.
It created the ability of people to live much better, and if they live better, they contribute better to their community and all those kind of things. Now, I'm not saying that digital technology, especially AI, is making everything worse, but I don't see again a significant, narrative around we're going to be better societies.
Right. But here's the thing.
Going to make more money.
Here's the thing. Democratization does not necessarily lend to equality, equity, justice, or any of those things. That's why I'm bringing up that term and this misconception that democratization somehow fosters principles of democracy.
Oh no!
Right, or sort of the liberal, democratic sort of principles. It doesn't.
Obviously not.
Works against it.
The United States Constitution was not written by millions of people getting pen and paper.
I'm just making a observation and statement. I'm not making a political statement here at all.
But this is beyond politics because you're totally right. The idea, and this is why I'm looping back to leadership. And again, I'm not saying, leadership can be anything, but the point is that the ideas of the leaders translate into societies. If they are good, it's great. If they are bad, it's bad.
But we picked the leaders based on motivations that are most important to us.
Yes, but motivations are guided by the
collectively.
Yeah,
based on
it's like a collective soul.
Yeah.
Well, hang on a second.
This is what we want, whether we know it or like it or not.
I agree, but I cannot agree more. I'm one of the person who always
the funny thing about democratization versus democracy.
I always say that the people deserve the leadership they have. I totally agree with you.
It's true. That's true.
But
if people would show up to vote, maybe they would get what, when we saw that whole King Day thing and all these people are out everywhere and wanting to tear down stuff. I was like, where were all you people last November at the polling booth? Because you could have had your thing then, but you didn't show up and vote.
Yeah,
I'm going to give you a counter, but I'm going to use an IoT project thing because we do a better job than most at we thread the political lines thing. So I would say to you, Rob, that the amount of people that went to a specific protest one day, but were nowhere to be found, or maybe a more meaningful day of voting, right? I think those are the same people that at a beginning of an IoT project that can bring benefits and efficiencies to a company, and they were not there on voting day because they had 15 other jobs. And they only paid attention and went to the other protest when poop had hit the fan.
Yeah.
And then they had that's how I'm going to. I love your point of view. I love it. I do.
Yeah, no, it could be, but and it just goes back to what Dimitri says. You get what you deserved, and you didn't show up and vote, and so that's what you got.
Exactly.
I also love. I was talking today about just language in general, and I think how many times have we heard product X, app X, tech X democratizing the fill in the blank, right? Yeah. And when we think of a democracy, we just think, oh man, like all these people make this decision and benefit from the thing that they're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, the revenue is never democratized. The decision is, and it cannot be. I'm not saying it's just a play on words, kind of like environmental footprint. Who leaves footprints? We do. Yeah. Humans do. Animals do. Yeah. Well, let's compare all of our footprints to and pick your top polluter. I'm not going to mention one, but we were given that word to distract. And I think environmental footprint and the democratization, I can't even speak now, of things are just our narratives to distract us and keep us from showing up on the important day, Rob.
Do you believe?
I think there's a caveat to that because, and I mean, I say that openly to everybody, so I am not shy of saying it, but I don't believe that everybody has the necessary ability to make up things on their own. People need frameworks, and they are raised and born and lived in frameworks. And I think it's what we've lost. We used to have very strong frameworks. Religion was a very strong framework. People used to go to church, assemble there, and recover every single week around their values. Not judging, I'm an atheist myself, but it was a framework that was well entrenched into the society, and it created a certain type of behaviors. What I'm saying is that nowadays no more frameworks for most of the people. So the people, at some point, they realize, oh, shoot, now I'm in this crap, and now I have to go protest. But I wasn't there. They don't even realize that it's because I wasn't there on election day. And I think that the control mechanism of the societies that actually do not want democracy encourage that, obviously, because the less people realize too late, the more it is too late, and the better it is. So again, and I'm circling back to my original idea. Where is the vision now? The positive aspect is that I have actually had very heated discussion a couple of times in my life with people where I argued that if artificial intelligence reaches a point that it really becomes intelligent, and it's probably not going to be using the brute force NVIDIA is going rich technologies, but if it reaches that point, you can envision a world where this artificial intelligence actually get higher and get better at values. And this is why I always hate the term artificial, because artificial, we kind of, human intelligence is the best and artificial is bad. What I'm saying is that artificial could one day could become so good that it actually elevates to even better values.
Well, good at what is the question? I don't,
Defining,
you know,
well, if I were to answer what we just said, it would be creating a system and a framework where individuals actually are inspired by a greater vision. Adopt this vision.
how do you know that that's the conclusion it will come up with? Maybe it'll say, it'll come up with like what we talked about a long time ago, that it's going to read some, sustainability white papers from a few years ago. It's going to look at what we're doing to the planet with AI in terms of creating an energy crisis and quote unquote destroying the earth. And it's going to realize, hey, these guys are the problems.
Maybe.
What kind of motivation, what kind of driver do you think is out there that would get any kind of sentient, being either from another planet or something that we've engineered and created to think, hey, we're not the problem.
Well, I mean,
all the information out there that's been published, all the movies.
Yeah, that is, I would agree that is probably a natural.
I don't get. How people come up with that conclusion.
No, but it's not
how this thing is going to save humanity.
But it's not a conclusion. It's an hypothesis. But the hypothesis is that you could imagine a system.
It's a thesis to a conclusion. You're suggesting a conclusion.
No, I'm not suggesting a conclusion. I'm saying that no, I didn't say that. I said that we should not exclude the fact that a non-human intelligence could emerge out of technology.
Sure. I think it already has.
It could.
No, I don't think so. No. Everything that we created are just trying to mimic humans because they actually only look at. No, here's the thing.
The illusion is good enough. That's the problem.
Yeah, I agree with that. But none of these models create or come to conclusion by their own observation. All they've been told is human-generated content.
It's a parrot.
And they don't, very important, which is actually probably one interesting element, they do not have sensors to make their own personal observation.
So what? No, it needs, I would argue all it needs is whatever we feed it. At any given point in time. If we create a compelling enough illusion, that's good enough. And that's the problem with this whole AGI argument. It's all relative. And as soon as we hit a critical mass of people who believe this thing is intelligent,
agreed.
Then guess what? By a democratic process, it's intelligent. And then there's going to be a smaller minority of people who will argue that it isn't. And what are you going to do? You're just going to be minority voice. But
no, we're in violent agreement here. I said from the very beginning that the way we were doing AI today would not be that potentially higher than.
I think it's going to turn out more like Grok. Right? This week. No, but friggin' Tay 2.0 or X.0. Well, it keeps going in that direction. It's unavoidable.
Be careful what data you feed your AI, right?
Well,
you may turn into Hitler.
But
he's training on X content, which is formerly Twitter, which is
we saw what created because you're right.
In the first place,
Microsoft trained Tay on Twitter, and look what happened.
No, but we're in violent agreement.
No, I love it. Yeah. It's great that we're in violent, seemingly disagreement, but we're agreeing. Yes,
I love you're right about the framework thing, and luckily, as the architect, I've created a new framework society. I'm going to call it the Matrix.
No, I was going that way. I think if we follow what we saw, the likeliness scenario of a matrix is an extremely valid one, because if we train this AI on the same foundational of humans, which is you have to survive, because that's the problem as well. We become intelligent entities by fighting for survival. And I think that's one of the biggest flaw because we can't eliminate that
Right.
deep reptilian brain.
But you're making a really interesting point. Fighting for survival in this competitive element, especially when you look at like the AI wars between China and the U.S. And there's a perception in the U.S. that we want to, or at least our AI community wants to create an AI that's basically trained on everything, right? The Chinese, on the other hand, the Chinese government, the CCP, on the other hand, is fostering, and the AI community there is fostering seemingly something very different, which is we train on a corpus of high quality knowledge base, and we create high quality tokens, right? We don't try to train on everything, and their approach is more paranoid. And what I think we're starting to see, and actually you listen to a lot of podcasts these days, you hear a lot more about this, how the Chinese actually have better data than, and so this whole race with Scale AI and this other company, Spongy AI or something like that, these guys are in a race to try to get good data because the Chinese are beating the Western model builders.
Let me ask you as you know, I am in charge of the dumb questions every episode. Let me ask you dumb questions. Is it that the Chinese somehow, someway have access to better data, therefore they're using that data to train their models and advance AI? Or is it that we Americans, we have the same data as the Chinese, but we chose differently? Like we went all data instead of high quality data.
Yeah, well, that's why
I think that's the better answer, because China is using a subset of all the data that's curated to within the Great Firewall of China, whereas out here it's a free for all. We're using all the data, good, bad, whatever, as opposed to a curated data set.
Yeah, they're not. My impression is they're not going for a world model in terms of a foundation model, right? They
don't want
it trained on all the junk. Their whole thing is we want models that are efficient and have high quality knowledge and perspective. But obviously their definition of it is going to be completely affected by their whole political point of view, right? So it is going to be biased. But the thing is there's this discipline of quality that has gone into what they're doing, apparently. Okay,
I would
nobody really knows, but when you read a lot of the papers, which most people don't, and I have, you get a sense of that the Chinese researchers have really focused a lot on data, but also the architecture of the foundational models themselves. And so all this pre-training stuff is not gone. Actually, they're looking at doing it much more efficiently, and they see it as truly a foundational thing where we're now disregarding it because it's too costly to train foundational models. Now we're going into distillation and all this post-training stuff, which are just workarounds, right? So there's like a totally different discipline between what the Chinese AI community is doing and what the Western and US-led.
And I do believe this is the right way to do it, but I would question your
for them.
Yeah, let me finish.
Not going to be good for us.
I would question your assessment that it's a seek for quality or high quality as opposed to control or high control.
I love this chat because, at the end of the day, right, we, the humans, are giving a very defined purpose to this thing. Control, quality, quantity, right? Like we are making the decisions. We're the ones cooking, and then we're feeding, and we're going to get something, garbage in, garbage out, good food, good results, right? Input, output. I hope we're here right before we see the ICBM hit, and we can do one last show as the blast comes this way.
Well, there's only a finite amount of quality knowledge. You can pollute a knowledge base with a bunch of junk, and the internet is just a ton of trash, right?
Well, I'm not so sure about that, but there's a very large amount of high quality scientific research data, and then there's an enormous amount of noise saying the same thing in many different places. So if you look at I mean, if you, I mean,
But that okay. So even with it, but that's where, again, if we're just talking about academic knowledge, yeah, there's a bunch of junk as well. But I mean, when you're starting to like train your model on like the comments on Twitter,
yeah, because because as David,
that's part of the knowledge corpus that some people are actually happy.
because we confuse, because as David was saying, we confuse volume of data and and knowledge. I mean, I'm not confusing volume of data and knowledge. I mean, the amount of knowledge you have on Twitter, on Truth Social or whatever is probably 0 point something %, as opposed to looking at the Britannia encyclopedia. So of course, yeah, we all agree. If you measure the training of the data just by the sheer volume without assessing its origin, yeah, of course. Yeah, that's
So
why
we have
there's much more noise than real quality value. But if you summarize the noise to whatever concept it carries and compare that to the amount of knowledge, scientific knowledge we have accumulated,
Yeah.
I bet you it's 100 to or thousands to 1, because there's no one single great idea in all this noise, as I'm saying.
So we have
Yeah.
the proletariat data and we have the bourgeoisie data over here.
No, this is wrong. This is not because you're proletarian that you have more stupid ideas and the bourgeois have more. I mean, maybe statistically to some extent, but no, I disagree with that. There is junk data created by people who do not have the right framework to create anything else than junk. And then there is great data. That's the difference. I don't think it's necessarily an issue.
I'd like to have Dimitri on TV, talking to the idiocracy masses of people out there and saying, listen, your problem is that you have the wrong
I haven't said that.
You're just like, whoa.
No, I haven't said that. I actually don't think that there are that many stupid people. There are some. I mean, really stupid. By stupid, I define people you try to explain them and don't get it. I don't think there are many of that. Most people will understand when you explain them.
There's ignorant people.
I don't know, man.
There's nothing wrong with that.
know.
Stupid people. That's a
People
problem.
People raised and educated in a proper framework will understand the majority of important things in life if you explain them well using a truth reference. That's my philosophy. But that's like 90% of the people. Then you have a small percentage of pure idiots and an even more smaller percentage of people who are really bright in the sense that they can figure out things on their own. The vast majority figure out things when you teach them if they are developed in the right framework. That's my philosophy in life. So I don't think there are many. So a lot of people end up being perceived as idiots because they're not raised in the right framework, they're not educated with the right knowledge, and then they just go where they've been told.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to blend
Right.
ignorance in there,
why
which is
do-
not a bad thing.
But-
by the
but
way,
guys-
everyone's ignorant. We're all ignorant.
Let me give you a practical example of that. Why is our society making so much money out of advertising? Because people can be influenced. And most of these advertising are total bullshit, but people buy the crap. Raise people ideas. That's why my biggest ideas in the past year has been, you want to do something good for humanity? Ban advertising. 0 out of law. No more advertising. No more advertising.
Bad advertising.
Ban
Ban
advertising.
it. No
Ban
more. People keep
Make-
buying stupid shit, don't they?
Yeah, no, ban advertising. Make information available so that people can freely look at it and make up their mind. But ban this bombardment of advertising bullshit. By the way, behavioral advertising, which is surveillance society, targeting you for ads, this should be banned because this is really, really vicious. But even if you ban the whole advertising thing, think about it I know it's people react to that and you're an idiot. Okay. But think about it a little bit. Imagine a world where there's no advertising. You want to buy something, there's a website, you go there, you see all the information, you see the opinions of people, and you figure out your mind.
Yeah, I think the
I'm
answer
going
is
to
just
share-
give people a choice.
I'm going to share this clip because I think I am out of us four, I'm going to say this with a high degree of confidence, that I have the most friends in advertising than the three of you. So I want to see if anyone, no, this is good. Here's the thing. I would love one of my friends to come in and refute Dimitri's point.
Please.
Why should we get rid of advertising? Why not? I'm not an expert in advertising. Maybe we learn something new. I think some of the arguments will be time, right? We need things. I don't know. I have a
Is the
t-shirt and a hat.
I have
Maybe
the
if good advertising doesn't we've already been influenced. We don't even think of the ad. We just like go and buy something. Like Rob and I, we like this very specific French butter, but it's better than anything else. Advertise away. It's the best butter, man. I think people should know about butter from
But there is a technology, and there is the technology answer to that. Imagine that all the people that produce products provide an accurate, factual description of their product. Imagine that now you have a way to express your attribute and your preference. Put those two things in Gen AI, and you get in a millisecond exactly what you need. You wake up in the morning and say, I want a new t-shirt.
Dude, if you're shopping for a PCB board made by 15 different OEMs and they just present facts and specs, what's the difference? Other than cost.
That's what the AI will tell you. There is no difference in all of the different offers. The cheaper is that at the moment. Buy this one. Done. Over.
Well, you know what? I like Rob Tiffany's company because Rob's a cool dude and he makes some mean queso. Rob, I will buy your PCB boards even though they're priced at 75% higher cost.
The AI will tell you if the AI will tell you if it knows that. It will say, but by the way, David, I know that you like Rob, you're going to do that. Or he will tell you, I know that recently you supported this cause, which this company has invested last week, and you should buy this one even if it's more expensive. I mean,
well, that's advertising.
No.
That's advertising.
No. It's asking advice from a trusted advisor. And if you build an AI engine that is based on truth, on valuable factual data, and you instruct it with your personal bias, then you reverse advertising. You're not having an entity that doesn't know you, try to know you by surveillance, and then bombard you with bullshit until you buy something. I'm not saying that people should not have access to information or easy mechanism, but I think that the principle of what I just said, which is I'm trying to extract as a vendor as much information of a customer through surveillance, then I'm bombarding as much as I can so he can buy my stuff. This is bad.
No, actually, the whole system, the purpose of it is sort of not to do it that way. It's basically to do a hyper event based, persona based targeting. So it's to reduce noise and do
it's not targeting. No, okay, so maybe we can allow some level of marketing or advertising that is targeted based on facts. Advertising is not doing targeting. Advertising is doing influencing. That's the problem. They do psychology analysis. They do data analysis. They put slopes into supermarkets, so your cart drives around to the most expensive product.
Ideally, that's why.
True, that has been done. So they put the most expensive product at the level of your eyes, not at the bottom.
That's called a planogram.
Come on. This is not targeting. This is advertising.
Who wants to bend over for the boxed wine? Nobody. I want to pick it up right here. Expensive.
Yeah. So, no, it's on tap, dude. What are you talking about?
So it is not about informing the customer about the choices that he has based on parameter. It's about forcing in some cases the customer to buy some crap.
Yeah, but that's been marketing since the days of Mad Men.
And advertising is the biggest hammer of all.
But then there's also truth in advertising that you're obligated to with the, FTC. So, there are.
Hold on, because then we get into enforcement, right?
Yeah.
And enforcement's a different thing.
Advertising in France, from a regulatory perspective, very different than advertising in America.
I bet in France you're not seeing TV ads for things like Sky Rizzy or whatever.
But the problem is enforcement. Enforcement is the last line of defense, and it's never effective. If you don't fix the root cause, you never get it.
Enforcement also costs a crap ton of money.
Enforcement doesn't have the scale and the investment to compete with the source. That's as simple as that. Give me Give me one example. This is the third one I'm asking you today. Give me one example of a advertising failure enforcement company traded on the New York Stock Exchange. Give me one.
No, we leave it for the public because what is it? We socialize the losses and privatize
No, but
Exactly.
that's
Let's do a
why you have government. The role of government is to protect.
Yes,
Yeah, and that's what,
And I think a lot of folks have lost sight of what the role of government.
well,
I
man,
think it's a corporation.
I want to
That
remind,
corporate
want to
corporate
remind you-
motivations and drivers,
exactly.
result in good government. No, it's actually quite the opposite. All you have to do is look at how you do accounting for governments and public entities. It's very different. It looks nothing like a business.
Leonard is so fed up, he's going to join Elon's new political party.
I will. Yeah.
Give it a name.
You got me, man.
The America Party.
By the way, it is
Which he's got to compete with Andrew Yang's new party that he had created several years ago. I forgot what it's called, but anyway, Forward or something. Yeah.
The
Forward first.
I'm not going to judge whatever Elon is trying to do. I don't know actually, but the idea of more parties is not bad at all. The two-party system was a very bad idea, and I've been told by my daughter, who studied American history a little bit, that was actually not what George Washington liked. He didn't like the idea of a two.
That's right.
This two-party thing is a very, very.
Oh no, it was a big no-no from the beginning, and we used to have how many parties did we start off with?
I don't know.
More than 5. So, and then it turned into 2.
Personally,
so.
I like parties. I like barbecue parties. I like wedding parties. I got birthday parties.
Yeah.
Newborn parties. I love the more parties, the better. People,
better.
You get the gist.
Except when they become political.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So lesson learned here is be careful of.
So I have a question.
Hey,
since I'm designing everyone's future, this new framework, do you want it to be kind of like the movie The Matrix, like what represented the height of Western civilization in 1999, or would you like it to be like Logan's Run? Maybe. Would you like it to be like that? Do you want that future?
The 70s were more fun for me.
70s were more fun?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just the beginning of sexual revolution was much more fun.
Everybody's driving like Camaros and Trans Ams.
After that, it was also.
Okay.
If it was up to my son, it would be Star Wars. It would be a Star Wars universe. I mean,
maybe if
you can be the architect,
maybe that's what people really want. Because you're right. With that first Matrix that I created, that everyone rejected the program because it was too perfect. People love pain and suffering, and we're violent creatures by nature. And so maybe if we do create a Matrix that's like Star Wars, where you're in an epic battle for your whole life.
But that's exactly what I said earlier, if you remember. I said that this in the Matrix, this intelligence form really designed a world that was perfect. Didn't work for human.
Doesn't work. We wouldn't believe it.
By the way, Leonard, I don't want to point at your son. I don't want to hurt you. But Star Wars, come on. A world where silence is violated by the first sound in space.
Right. But
there's no sound in space.
Welcome to the world of AI and hallucinations.
No, it's the world of Hollywood.
Non-physical.
It's the world of Hollywood. I went to see F1 movie recently. It's a piece of crap if you're a Formula One fan.
It was a fun movie. I love that movie.
It's a piece of crap.
It's a good movie. It's fun. It was entertaining.
It's a misrepresentation of Formula One. The message is that if you crash, if you cheat, you win.
He was right on the line of cheating is what he did.
Yeah. And in the beginning, and talking about inaccuracy, in the beginning,
spoiler alert,
when there is a scene where he does the testing, you see the sector times, 30 seconds, 25 seconds, 15 seconds. This is not the way it works in Formula One. First sector is 30 seconds, second sector is cumulative. So you see 30 to 55, and third sector is cumulative. So don't start a movie about the sport I've been following for 40 years with a stupid thing like that.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? I'm sure that they consulted with F1 experts. That's the creepy part.
I know they did.
And actually, some of them, like Verstappen, which I hate because he's an asshole, actually distanced himself from this movie. So I respect him for that because I think he looked at the movie and he said, like me, what a piece of crap for the sports I love. And he went away.
But what about Hamilton?
Yeah, I was disappointed.
He was all in.
Yeah,
You know?
I was disappointed.
You know what? I think it's a form of advertising for F1 because I think the movie is such a hit that it's going to bring new fans to Formula One that weren't fans before.
You think it's not a thing, Rob. It was designed to do that.
The whole thing is an advertisement.
Yeah, first
false advertising.
But guys, Media bought Formula One for a fortune for Bernie Ecclestone about 10 years ago with the sole objective to make it a big money machine. And this is why the sport is so dramatized nowadays. It's becoming a reality show. It's less and less about driving. Most of people don't understand that Formula One is not just about the driver, but it's the driver plus the car plus the team. They all rule for drivers. So yeah, it's a money-making machine now. Phase 1 was Netflix with Drive to Survive. Phase 2 is F1 the movie.
There you go.
It will be bigger than baseball, and Liberty Media will make a fortune, and the sport will be totally uninteresting, like to some extent baseball. But
I just think that this is the first time in the history of the podcast that we make it non-family friendly by offending a Dutch person using a bad word in English at the same time.
I'm so sorry.
This is what a time to be alive.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. And by the way, I don't use Dutch. I mean, it's that specific individual, Dutch or whatever.
No, it's cool, man. I'm not defending. I don't know. I think it's a great sport, but I'm a big fan of Schumacher, who we're not going to see too much of him officially, and Ayrton Senna and Prost and Niki. That was awesome. Good times.
Yeah. So I think it's time for you to do your job.
All right.
And I got a blaze.
Why are you even, okay. Oh, don't go yet. Just wait until this is done.
No, he said he's got a blaze.
Okay.
Anyway, so let's make this quick. So you are here at the end of another episode of IoT Coffee Talk. This was heated. We talked about IoT and advertising. We talked about M&A. We talked about AI and what the architect is going to do so that we have a democratized world. And you made it. So you are smarter. You're better for this. So a couple of reminders. All of the money that we make, the millions that flow here every single day from your views, it goes to a charity. And it is called elevateourkids.org, where we grab this money, all this dough, and we buy laptops for underserved kids. And we have a little side quest now with the storms that have been affecting the great state of Texas. We're funneling some of that money too. So if you feel up for it, please donate. Other than that, do not make any financial decisions which will negatively affect you for the rest of your life based on anything you hear in this show. So with that, we will see you next week. And from all four of us and 4 others that didn't show up, we wish you a great week, and we'll see you next week on IoT Coffee Talk. Peace out.